to this railway track crossing, and I want to show you how tactile ground surface indicators need to be installed on this structure. This is called a pedestrian maze. Now, you might not have heard that term before, so let me explain what a pedestrian maze is. A person enters it like this, around to where they can cross the track crossing. Just go back a second. See what's happening here? The concept of the pedestrian maze is a really simple one. Is that a person is forced to look down the track that way, and then when they turn around to the opposite way, they're forced to look at the track that way. So then when they come to the track crossing, they've already looked left and looked right. Now, for a person who is blind or vision impaired, tactile ground surface indicators, this pad here, which is not looking as healthy as it could be, a guide to know where the perimeter of the pedestrian maze is. So this point, it's from this post here to that post there. Now, there's codes and regulations that govern the use of tactile ground surface indicators and also the crossing itself. But let's take a look at how the product has been installed. Now, tactile ground surface indicators are supposed to be installed 300 millimeters back from the threshold, back from this point to this point. Now, that should only be 300 millimeters. In this situation, it's closer to about 500 millimeters. In other words, it's too far away. Why is that a problem? Because look, I just walked through it. If that was 300 millimeters, I would have at least clipped the edge. The other problem we've got here with this particular installation is there is an insufficient amount of TGSIs being installed. So the tactiles need to be for the full width of the opening, or for the full width of the accessible path. So that's from this post to that post. This is insufficient. And unfortunately, there is another problem. Tactile ground surface indicators are supposed to be perpendicular with the other side, which means at right angles. Now, if I was to straighten up here and I just lift my phone up as I record this, I'm actually heading over to here, not to there. So this tactile ground surface indicator pad actually needs to be orientated more like this, to this other side. Unfortunately, it doesn't. This particular use of tactile ground surface indicators and how they've been used and applied in this pedestrian maze is actually highly dangerous. It is very easy for a person who is blind or vision impaired to use their cane or to locate these tactiles underfoot. If they followed this tactile pad, look where they end up. They've ended up over here. That's where these warning indicators have directed me, because a person who is blind or vision impaired has usually been trained with mobility and orientation training. This is so unfortunate, and it's just dangerous. So both pads on both sides are incorrect. Both are non-conforming, don't meet the transport standards, and in actual fact, don't meet the current train crossing standards that were released, I think around 2016, 2017. This area needs to be fixed. More appropriate tactiles should be put on, because this is actually, oh God, that's actually a tripping hazard. All the adhesives come off. Pedestrian mazes at a track crossing, I think we could do a lot better than this.